This day 1537, the Arukh HaShulchan Yom Eiter during Yerideh Simrei Sadik Zayin Beis, the second Simrei Sadik Zayin, Sivim Yud Zayin Til Chav Dalid. Yud Zayin. B'zeh Ram is Perak Tes. It's in the language of Ram, the end of Perak Tes. Bemas Mugdashim, the animal which is non-fit korban, which has been redeemed. Api Shu Guvechot. Even though it's one body. The Torah considers if it's two bodies. Now it says because it was holy. Well, first it was not holy, then it became holy. Well, actually, it was a lot of kodesh, same idea. So first it's holy, then became kodesh holy, became like holy and non-holy. So it's like Behemah and Torah coexisting in the same body. That says it says, in fact, that the animal which has a movement is referenced as a behemah tmeah. And Masorah said this is referring to Psulim Mikdashim. Therefore, somebody who plows with a solitary ox, but it is a Psulim Mikdashim, or a Marbia, or if your husband did, this is a Masorah, this prohibition. Raiva writes like Rabbeinu Tam, who says that it's because it's like Tzvi Vayol. Rama Lokasab Amarbia Lokashleim Rama not right that Amarbia you get two, which is, we said yesterday is a possibility. He doesn't have such a scenario. Since he Lashita holds you only get makas if you mate at kosher and non-kosher animals. There's only one makas possible here, either internally or externally. It doesn't matter. Intrinsically, the animal, the of itself is made Torah, or you made it with a Torah animal, but it's all the same love. He must not have had the version where it says that you got two malchus, one for each side of the animals status. The Gan Ram Shita said Psulim Mikdash Niftu. Also, the Ram is clear about Psulim Mikdash which are redeemed. Ta'akrab Yemei Tmei this pasuk Yemei Tmei Maril Achash Niftu. So after it's redeemed, he's from Nochis. Pranasa Visa Pek Ab Misuri Mizbech. That brings us in the first paragraph of Misuri Mizbech. I think that's I'm not sure if that that's confirmation. I'm not sure why that's confirmation or a question. Anyway, but the bracket says here, "V'zeh Shomer Kotan B'Yud Beis the Ein Marbiyim V'Psulim Mikdash Chashash Avoda." So that says you can't you can't husband a psulim mikdashim because you're working kachim. That's before it's redeemed. The Rama Rama even talked about before redeemed in terms of kilaim. It's about where it's its own species. Keep psulim mikdashim. It's about husbanding one psulim mikdashim with another psulim mikdashim. Is that like a kilaim? It's no kilaim, only avoida. It's not clear. The Ritva Makusham, because of first, I have no lake. It says also in such a scenario you get Malkus. And Sham Gam Hakrod who rak Lachashnifte. Anyway, the pasuk is talking about only after it's redeemed. The Dvar Niflumi Menum, and I don't understand Mishamech. He says Feduk. Yuches Kasar Rambam. Ram writes Echor Choresh Vechor Zorah Moshe. Whether it's somebody is plowing or planting or Moshe ben Mago or driving a wagon or Evan or I guess pulling a stone as one. These think back to the regular climb here, or he conduct them as one. I feel because even verbally, like it's makusham no matter which way you get do it together. But if you just pair them, it's not enough until you either pull them or conduct them, drive them. If you love, Rush already explained it's only forbidden when they're tied together. They're doing one activity. So you put a beam on top of an ox and a donkey, and they're pulling they're moving the beam. I feel like even a person sitting on that beam, they're going, it's not considered to be combined. But again, there are two times comes to Rambam the Ilu Masik Shuyachad, even though the Torah seems to in the Rambam, that is not required them to be tied together. Become a Ben says Svarav, because the Mishnah Bereka Bayis Dachila. Beis rejects the Torah. Vemes Lezoloshem Mizavkan Yachad. And his language actually is Mizavkan Yachad to couple them. Which actually in English also means to link them together. Meaning that they're tied together. But Ram the Zavgan Pata Shim Shari and Ayini. The Ram says that somebody who couples them is exempt until you pull or drive. Meaning that if even they're tied together, but they'll come stationary, if ain't no sim klum, not doing anything, ain't no dominigum, nobody's conducting them. Aim is a clause, no is at all. For the Pashu lives it's obvious it's not specifically where they're tied together. I feel they're tied together. I feel even they're both tied onto some third thing. Such as the wagon, the ox is tied onto wagon, which side? This side. Because you said and the donkey's tied on the other side, having shum yachad is still as if they're tied together. You test. Nevertheless, one Rishon does ask him, they're not tied together. Says because that's what Ramah writes. And here it says bracket Sif Yurav Hasheni. So it's not only the two Simanim raised like Zayin, the two Sifim Yurav in raised Zayin base. V'zel Shal is writes Yeshin. They know also Anigon Lamshichon Rak Mishum Yachad. To those who say that it's also to it's only also to drive them or pull them when they're tied together. That's why a rider on a horse can use his leash to drag his dog along. That's Rabbeinu Ephraim and Mordechai, who argues Rabbeinu Ephraim and Mordechai. Perkei the Shabbos. The Torah feel making shum yachad Torah forbade in the circumstances, no matter what, even they're not tied together. Yerushalmi work there. Yerushalmi is the first opinion that has to be tied together. That's the Yerushalmi in Perkei the Gimel, and the Gra brings it down. If say Yeshlokim, in fact, the opinion which argues is the Echidah. The Yeshlokim, I thought. Oh, the Yeshlokim, right. Right. The people say that even they're not tied together, that is the Yechidah. So the Ramah brought the Yeshlokim. So if he must have said, it's because the Beis Yosef thought the Ramah held away. If he must have was full of Kesef Mishnah, but according to the Beis Yosef, we negged the way he wrote the Beis Yosef when he wrote the Kesef Mishnah. Uberek Abayis, and the Uberek Abayis, of course, the gloss on the Beis Yosef. That's always the opinion which answers is a solitary opinion. If he said a katzav, if that's the case, a butcher who's sitting in a Yoshev who's sitting in a wagon, and he's bringing an animal along with him. If he holds the rope, and presumably he says one animal drawing the wagon and another animal, different species that he's pulling along, we can't rebuke him. But if you tie the rope onto the wagon, it's the term mamish. That is the term mamish, though mani became line. I would assume that that's only if he actually is part of the motive force of the wagon. Sounds like even if you don't know, if not part of the motive force of the wagon. Anyway, that is conducted with Knaim. Should repudiate them, rebuke them with strength, strenuously. So let's should not do this. That's a taz. That what you said. Even if you conduct them verbally, you get makas. I feel no matter call law of the even though if we say the call is not a ma'isa, kokom nevertheless conscious ma'isa idea call. There's the activity being done to the call. Having ma'isa is a ma'isa. But the Torah goes to bechan the having a call ma'isa. Also, the Torah agreed that here sound the voice should be like a deed. Came by the Rambam is to explain for explicit in Rambam. It says yachdov. Together, Yafin Lo Afil Bekol. We learn this even verbally. The Rosh is free, and this is just in this Rivach Birusho. Is way to say. I mean, Chsiv Yachdov, since it says Yachdov Mashu B'Chol Yinyan Yachdov, any way that they're together. But Metziah avoid Mishum Akimis Vasav Avei Ma'isa in Sham. Metziah Dav Tzadik. It seems that the reason is actually a different one because the bending of the lips is the Ma'isa, and These things are in brackets. At Taisus, cause the Taisus, Taisus goes like the first answer. Because it says, Yachtov, no matter what. The Maisa, or, I just because you have to by water because by the Koli doing a Maisa. Anyway, Chafal. Because of Rabbeinu Ramah, to see if you have, Akwa Mani B'Chaim, if a non-Jew is Kentucky climb. Mutter so froshlo shalom. A Jew can extend them a greeting. O daber b'kol speak to them loudly. Lo shiu shem b'chol beis ma'asol. We're not concerned the animals now go additional distance on account of the voice of the Jew. Lo shiu shem b'chol beis the b'chol ha'isurim davar shem miskaven shari im enam sigresha. It's like any other Isser, interestingly, which is it's davar shem miskaven. It's not your intent, and it's an sigresha. The fruit is going to move, and then it can't account. Avim Yisrael lecha ima akum derech the Jew and is going with the non-Jew on the road. Umasher sheisrael gola shel akum, and there's a load of a Jew on a wagon of non-Jew shemaniim b'kilayim, who's conducting it with kilayim. Lo lecha Yisrael samar gola. The Jew should not go adjacent to the wagon. If I go nechbeshes, because sometimes the wagon will get stuck. And the Jew will end up shouting at the animals to go quicker. That's also because Kentucky we climb. At Kan Lashoina. End quote. We learn from the Ramah the Raka Yisrael that the Jew shouldn't go adjacent to the wagon. They climb, but the fact that the non-Jew is drawing this Jewish merchandise. By Kilayim, Leislam Boss and Brown Frost came in the Yisrael Omet Sabir Associate because the Jew did not command him to do so. But to tell him to do it, it's definitely also. Why? To Mir Lakum Shfus Chalisrin. Because the issue of Mir Lakum, which is having Sifhei. Chabez, V'da Yishno, the Yisheyesh Machlutz Mashi Yisbar, the Mani Klein Lokim, Mani Kramani. What's called conducting. The Yesh Yishom, those say that Filu Kshum Yachar, if they're tied together, V'hanam Higam below Shum Malacha, and the person is conducting without doing any Malacha, ends a klum, it's nothing. Mani Mikre, Shman Higam, V'hem Moshim Shum Dover. The Manhigam is when they're pulling something. Conducting them, they're doing some work. That's a task. Chemucha b'toises. Toises shar stop no doubt. Because the shonim is way as follows. Elamite also ani kilayim. I feel them shach shum dover. Can't say it's also to conduct kilayim even not pulling anything. Can you also lichlaziz makom become a shab slim mikdashim? Interesting proof. Because then she also to just pull a shab slim mikdashim all together because it's kilayim, right? It's like two species. Cool. I got to show them. Very cute. Yes, because of those who wrote the B'Kshurim Yachad, if they're tied together, I feel about Hogeh below Melacha, he was just conducting without doing any work. Also, get Malcolm Leica, get Malchus Tetzabach. Vadika there, we show the primary halacha is like the first meaning. They have to be involved in doing some activity, some work. I mean, Kshur Mechevel, nice and Yachad Chevel, but not much help because if they're tied with a rope and they're bearing the rope together, we can Melacha, that too is called Melacha. It's entices in the rush, Shabbos. If he said the dafka kshum yisoro same, zelazeh ain't this about haga. According to this, it will only be if they're tied together by their hair. They're not big. There's no outside substance involved. That then there's no prohibition of conducting. About kshum mechevel, they're tied with a rope or whatever acher, but something else. Aslan igam yachad, you can't conduct them together. Yerushalmi the klein momer she'ain isuk she'markim chamor al sus b'rechiva ba'ama v'lo barba. There's no prohibition of having a donkey ride on a horse, as long as they're not mating. As long as they're like a male and male, I ain't sure. Practice says, Yeshem plukta b'kshum yisrael same zelazet, as machlekes said they're tied by their hair. Me'agir so Shabbos, the Gersos not clear, I am b'yisrael atonei yontif. Chav Gimel, egla sheyesh la'agola, sheyesh l'shnei minim mashchol tzchimason. If you have a wagon which is being drawn by two different species, also leishi bob, I'll be slow. You can't sin it even if you're not conducting them. Because you're sitting there, cause them to pull the wagon. You also can have one guy sitting in the wagon, one guy conducting. 100 people who conduct together, they're all getting markers. So that everybody sits in the wagon. The real Baal Taisus, but in a rush, says they don't get, the people who sit in the wagon don't get markers. Reef a Rama Pascal like the Riz Ram say do get makas. Bima filu kosher shnei susim agolachas. If you even tie two horses onto one wagon, for the yesim shnei susim more than two horses. Also show me min achin now has to tie in another species. Alpha bisha susim michel mashka blue. I mean achin even though it's the horse can do the work without the other species altogether. Shaygamuma because the final analysis he's also showing the wagon. It's the Gamchi Malchus is also Malchus the Malchus, which goes to a Torah and Sham. The Zel Shishim, my Mishnah says, in the Mishnah over there, Hashlish and Akshur, Ritzu Asura. The third one is tied to the other two is Asa. Lo be dealing with that cloud. That doesn't mean it's a loch at all. But the Shadas Beisha Mishnah, the Hachi Pirusha. He goes to, according to his opinion, Pershim Shnais, the Agol Shlishis Hakshur Ima Karon Ayin Sham. The third eglah, the third calf, which is together with the wagon, Ayin Sham, that came to the custom of the guy, the Gam Yoshua, the Soviet Saboim, Mela Kenhu. I guess it's a double push by him. Because the person sitting in the wagon is also chayiv, so therefore it's chayiv even with the third one, which is tied on, even if he's not conducting it directly, because he's also participating. I guess that's a pshat. Chavt out. Katsu haTorah shel Rav Sif Tezvav. The Torah Shulchan wrote right. Egla musheches bekaram mean echad. Don't really read. It's probably a calf. Which is pulling a wagon with one min. Shouldn't tie another species to the rope. Not the side. After behind the wagon. They should because it shoves the wagon further as it walks. That kind of sort. Mishnah of Fresh Thumbs explicit Mishnah. Case you saw so you therefore should be careful not to tie a dog under the carriage. And also a calf and a young goat, a young sheep. So to a butcher, he can't tie the animal to the side of the wagon or behind it. So to people who are riding on horses in order to capture birds. Wow. There's a different issue. They can't tie the rope with which the bird is connected, was caught. But okay, the saddle, and the saddle is of wool. She was shotness. So rochev riding on the saddle, which is now connected to that wool, linen. The Ram also leads us out with Tamer Abasi, which is astonishing. Was the cloud, maybe because it's no Christianness. In brackets it says, maybe Bryce to the right mayor, Poiter, and Sham. So I guess Bryce goes to the right mayor exempts. Fine, I look at Mission goes to Basket Loch and Mission, now the right mayor. For them, also it says, Messiah, Ben Milama, Ben Rita, how come it's also, but since at all, it is also. Okay, we have one sif left, but we already went on a very long time today, so we'll stop.